Now, you see here that OK is 100 to 170, okay? And I just got done saying if you build an engine under 130, it's really not going to perform. Well, it depends, okay? This is taking into consideration an overall view, okay? Whether it's a lawn equipment engine, chainsaws, two-stroke, four-stroke. This is the overall picture, okay? When you build an engine, 100 to 170 psi, that'll give you that better throttle response, more efficiency, and remember, with efficiency, you get the fuel mileage, okay? You get more heat generated from that compression. The more heat you build, the more energy you have, the more you can convert the chemical into a mechanical. So when you have 100 to 170, that is an okay, that is like a stock engine, okay? That is a buy off the showroom floor. That is a non-oil burning. Oh, that's another thing. The lower compression you have, the more oil it'll burn. And that's because it doesn't have enough compression to actually seal the rings. But moving forward, 100 to 170, that is an 87 octane engine. That it doesn't matter if you got cast iron heads, it doesn't matter if you have aluminum heads. If you are set up correctly, you can run 87 octane in that engine all day long. If your quench is set, if your top ring gland isn't lower than isn't too far down from the top of the piston, that's another video. If you're running all sets of rings, you're not just running a compression ring and oil ring, that's fine. If you want to just build a stock engine, okay, maybe with an RV cam. Okay, these are your RV cam engines. This is not considered performance level. This is very low performance, okay? Anything under 170 is considered very low performance. It is not going to have much snap to it. It is not really going to be fun to drive on the street because it's going to have that low throttle response. It's going to have that less snappy feeling. It's not going to have that instant power, okay? Now, moving on to optimal. What is optimal? This is for performance, okay? You want to build an engine that is better than stock performance level. You want to build an engine that is more efficient than stock performance level. You want a performance engine that is going to respond well to headers. You want something that's going to respond well to intake changes, lobe separation angle changes. Either if you have one angle on the exhaust valve or three angles on the exhaust valve, you want to have something that you can fine tune and that you can actually work with and play with to have fun, to get it to where exactly you want to be. Optimal, anything over 175, you're getting into the very snappy throttle response. Now, 175 to 200, depending on how you set up your engine, depending on your quench, depending on the chamber design, depending on the valve configuration, it is where you want to be. It is your 89 octane, it is your 90 octane, it is your 91 octane. Again, it depends on how you have it set up. The better you have it set up, the lower the octane you can run, okay? Stroke plays an effect, connecting rod length plays an effect, types of rings, exhaust system, how much heat you can control in the exhaust system. And you can have an exhaust system that blows the exhaust out and gets hotter further down to help that movement, okay? And it's not by wrapping the exhaust header. It's for another movie or another video. You can actually make the fire in the exhaust system hotter to where it'll actually force more of that intake charge through. And again, that's playing into effect the low lift flow of the exhaust and what angles you got on that. And like I said, that's another video. My ADHD is pretty strong right now. Bear with me. Optimal is good, okay? Optimal is where you want to be. All right? Now, let's get into best. Why did I call it best and not race or high performance, okay? Best is taking a bigger picture of the situation. Best is, okay, you need to run a higher octane. You need to consider what your cam setup is, okay? And we're not just talking about intake valve closing here, okay? We're not just talking about one event. We're actually talking about all 4 events that happen with a camshaft. We're talking about, you need to know the diameter of your lifter, how that plays into effect, how that valve train is going to be controlled. You need to know, because when you get into those numbers, you're seriously looking at, okay, now possibly you need an aluminum head. Possibly you need to run 93, 94 octane, or possibly you need E85, stuff like that. Or you need to run a richer mixture. Okay? 190 to 250 is snappy. If you want that dirt bike 2-stroke effect, there you go. That's going to give you that. That's going to give you that instant tire roaching performance that you want, and that sometimes you don't want, okay? And let me be clear on this. When you get into 190 and 250, you are getting to the point where it's no longer taking your mood into consideration. That engine is going to be jumpy, it's going to be snappy, it's going to respond. And if you don't control that throttle, or if you have too big of a throttle blade, it's not going to be fun when you're trying to maneuver in a parking lot, okay? Now, with that being said, oh, that's too much compression, that's, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me tell you something. I have an air-cooled engine that cranks over at 230 PSI, okay? It runs on 92, 93 octane, okay? I can put 91 on it. I can run it on 91, but I better not dog the engine, okay? What I mean by dog the engine is that low RPM grunt, okay? But if I run a 93, 94 octane in that engine, I can grunt it all day long, and it'll pull, and it's snappy. It reacts like a dirt bike. My Harley has 230 when you crank it over, cold cranking compression, okay? And the quench is set up very, very tight. If I were to start it and just take off, I would break the studs right out of the block. I would smack the piston up against the head, because my quench area in that engine is